Yeah, go on.
Hello, it's Simone and Sam time. Welcome, Sam White, back to our weekly chat. Even though I know we skipped one last week because
I know, shocking.
I know we did a separate chat, didn't we? Instead, in fact, we did some mischief planning, didn't we, for something we've got coming up soon?
We did.
Which how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm really good. I've been juicing this week, so I'm slightly hungry, but I generally feel pretty good.
Tell us about that, because you've done this before. You've done like retreats and stuff around this, haven't you?
So I did. The first time I ever did juicing was probably over 10 years ago. I went to a place in Thailand, which is the most glorious place in the universe. If I ever am fortunate enough to become wealthy in any way, shape or form, I might just move there for a year, because they they run baths for you and put petals in the bath, and they do like I know. Yeah. They have this. They have their own organic garden, and they grow their own vegetables and fruit, and they have like the most amazing food, but it's all incredibly good for you. It's a bit like a dream where you can go to a buffet and eat as much as you want and know that you're not going to get fat. But I did a sort of I think I did 3 days the first time I did it, and I felt so good. Lost some weight, yeah, but my energy was up, my skin was fantastic, I felt great. So I've been kind of addicted to them ever since. And I have to admit, I've been sort of in the biscuit jar over the lockdown more than I obviously had realised. And I like to exercise, as you know, we talk about that a lot, but you really can't out-train a bad diet. So I got on the scales a week or so ago and was like, I put on half a stone since lockdown, need to deal with it. So I thought juicing would be the best option for me.
Do you think, I'm having a few chats at the moment, and I think there's definitely some wagon falling off in whatever that way that may be, coming out of maybe that faux Easter break where there was lots of excess chocolate around. I gave chocolate up for Lent. I always do that. I never do New Year's resolutions, but I always do Lent. It's a weird thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's I think it's that Nana influence, I think. And I have to say, I'd been really organised pre-lockdown. I'd bought the chocolate in and kept it hidden, and I'm not tempted at all to touch stuff. But then, because I did a big shop, and that was something in the news this week, we seem to have gone back as a country into doing the big shop again.
Yeah. Instead of the little basket that we were talking about the other week.
It's trolley like this high, isn't it? But I did. I got some extra chocolates and biscuits in, and again, that's not something that I tend to go wild on, but when it's there, you just get at it, don't you? So do you think that's what's happened, is people have kind of gone, oh well, I'll eat the kids stuff, or not the kids, and I'm not even needing an excuse for it, I'm just cracking on?
I mean, I don't know about anyone else. I can only speak to myself, and I definitely have an emotional relationship with food. And whilst I feel generally that I'm coping very well with this set of circumstances, and I feel quite calm, I think it would be extremely naive to assume that there's no emotional impact. My go-to for comfort is food. I don't drink anymore, as we talked about. I gave up drinking about a year and a half ago. So previously it would have been a glass of wine at the end of the evening to chill me out. And now I don't, well, more than one, to be fair. Now it's not wine, it's that little bit of chocolate. Now, coming back to, and I know I always talk about the chimp paradox, but one of the lines in the chimp paradox that really resonated with me was this idea that the chimp, or the amygdalin, is 5 times stronger than the human, and that all of the information goes to the chimp first. And the best analogy that he used is that situation where somebody comes past with a plate of cakes and you've decided you're on a diet, and you're eating the cake and having an argument with yourself in your own head going, what are you doing? We said we weren't going to eat the cakes. What are you doing? And that's the human arguing with the chimp. Now, if we accept that there's a lot of sort of under the level anxiety around the current set of circumstance, then my chimp is looking around the kitchen cupboards looking for a bit of comfort. And I think I've definitely allowed that to happen for lockdown, and I kind of, and that's all right, I'm not, there's no judgments here. I just personally know that if I allow it to continue much longer, I'm going to come out looking like the Marshmallow Man, and that won't make me happy either. So I've been like, look, I'm going to have a conversation with Chimp. We need to sort this out, mate. And so yes, I've moved on to the juicing, but I doubt very much whether I'm alone in that. When a lot of my friends are saying they're drinking more, or they're eating stuff that they wouldn't normally eat, or they're dropping the workout. So I think that is a common theme.
Yeah, and that's interesting. Professor Steve's that Audible, the Chimp Paradox is one of my I'm an Audible girl, so I have my Audible audiobooks, and I love that. That is one of my go-to books that I can just drop into it. Yeah. Get it on my headphones if I need just sometimes to have a conversation. I have to tell you, a few years ago, I ran an event at London Zoo. Our speaker in it was, she talked about the Chimp Paradox. If ever you could have found a better environment to talk about the Chimp Paradox
than a zoo, yeah.
And it was fantastic. And I wonder, sometimes I reflect on it because it was years ago, is during the drinks reception, there was a llama. They brought a llama out to be part of the networking. Well, obviously, right? And the llama, anytime anyone took a selfie, the llama was trained to lean in. so it's like a perfect environment, sort of elements of your Sheryl Sandberg lean in and a Simone selfie. It was fantastic. But coming back, that kind of falling off the wagon thing, I think that's interesting. Some people are falling out of exercise, some people are falling out of work, some people are falling out of the fridge, or and I've been quite good about trying to keep a definition between work and weekend, or working week and weekend. And I seem to be doing it alternate weeks, where I go midweek, absolutely no wine at all. I don't get me wrong, I'm probably counting down till whatever that time is on a Friday, 9 in the morning, 5 in the afternoon, whatever. I'm always looking at it as a treat, but then interested. So I can do a whole week, and then like this week, Tuesday, a whole load of issues with just hosting websites and the whole furlough waging, and me getting anxious to make sure that my teams are going to get paid and all this kind of stuff, to find that there's something's happened that nobody bothered to tell me about, just sent me a little bit to a glass of wine, and that was Tuesday, and I don't even think there is such a thing as Wine Tuesday. I know there's Wine Wednesday, but there's
Wine Tuesday, Simone, believe me.
I know, but I find that I kind of beat myself up about that, and I think we have to try and be a bit, we've talked about this, haven't we have to be a bit kinder, don't we? So how's your people, how's your work world, because 2 weeks ago we found ourselves on conversations which led to the Cabinet Office getting involved, and one of your partners getting involved about providing PPE. I mean, this was back and forth conversations we had, and that's progressing, right? It's fantastic.
Yeah, it is. And thank you so much for that. That was just so random. There's a guy that I've got another business interest in that does R&D stuff. And he just sent me an email and said, Sam, because he does R&D, he's got relationships with factories. He's got a relationship with this factory in China. One of his mates in Dubai had contacted him and said, can you get PPE? And he said, well, I doubt it, but I'll ask. He then speaks to these factory owners that he knows, and it turns out they've got all of the kit, all the stuff. And so he does a deal for his mate for like 14 million masks to go over to Dubai. And then he's like, this is ridiculous. We haven't got enough PPE in the UK. There's got to be like, but Max doesn't know people in government or what have you. I mean, neither do I, to be fair. That's why I contacted you. But he sent me an email and just said, do you know anyone? It seems crazy. I want to help. I want to get this stuff through. So I contacted you. I contacted a couple of other people that I knew. And then this wave of responses came back, and I was like, oh, shit. But one of your guys did put us in touch with the Cabinet Office, and then we got in touch with somebody in procurement there. And my understanding is that Max has kind of offered them a volume, and they're progressing with that. So I'm hopeful that there's some good that comes out of it. And again, it shows you that power of that network. We talk about this so much, but I think, I'm a total capitalist. I'm very commercial. I've got lots of commercial entities, but fundamentally, I do want to do good shit as well. And I think you have a network of women that are very much like that. And it's very easy when you're really busy to say, not now. Like, I can't do that now. And yeah, for sure, I have got quite a few plates spinning with the furloughing, and one of my businesses has had an 80% reduction in volume. And so we're applying for a CBIL loan to sort that out. And I'm trying to find commercial solutions to stuff. But in the grand scheme of things, that doesn't take that much time for me just to take a minute, ask you a question. And if some good comes off it, even if I'm having a tough time from a work perspective, I'm all about the little wins, the joy in the day. And something like that, getting through and it working will give me a real boost. And sometimes you need that boost to then go into battle on a commercial viewpoint to make sure that all of that stuff works. So yeah, that was really positive.
Yeah, and you know what? I think it's that whole we can mentality, isn't it? It's easy to kind of go, I've no idea, shrug your shoulders and leave it as someone else's problem, or whatever. And then
that's never your response, Simone.
No, it's almost like I love being. I was thinking now. I feel like I'm. We can evolve into being the COVID fixer. The Olivia Pope of the COVID. But I think this is where the goodness comes in, isn't it? Captain Tom and his 100th birthday, raising nearly £30 million and stuff like that. I think that's not the sum of small wins. That's a massive win. But what I suppose if he can just on 100 years old do stuff, we can all be kind and generous of spirit and stuff. So, but during this time it is challenging, isn't it? It is really challenging, especially because there's all manner of, are we looking at this for another year? Are we looking at this? Some people want to come out and think they're going to go back to normal next week. I think the CEO of Wetherspoons is saying he's opening pubs again in June. You're like, well, I'm not going to be there. I don't fancy being in that space. So,
I think a lot of people aren't going to be there based on the way that he behaved towards his staff, to be fair.
Well, yeah, no, I think, and this is that whole, how people come out of this, what people are remembered for. And it's like, social media never goes away, but people are not going to forget. They're going to remember your Captain Tom, but they're not going to remember poor behavior, are they? So are you, you are a serial entrepreneur and a problem solver. How do you feel right now? Are you, you might have had your dip on your biscuits, but are you excited? Are you excited about opportunities? Are you scared? How do you feel?
So I am excited about opportunities, but I've had a fairly rough ride of it over the last few years. I've been very honest about the fact, difficult divorce, some challenges from a business viewpoint, and the one thing that I took from that is that I know it sounds like a bloody Hallmark card, but you can only change the things that you have control over, and you really can't allow yourself to worry about the rest. So every day I get up with the intention of doing my very best on that day, and that's that isn't just my very best from a business viewpoint, which is obviously part of the factor. It's about how do I get myself into a good space. So like with the juicing, it's okay, I've put on weight. I feel a bit sluggish, which is not like me. What can I do? What can I change? Well, I can change that. I can change how I eat. I've got control over that. I can choose to do a walk every day and make sure that I can commit to that. I can choose to commit to a certain amount of time with my kids doing activities that I'm really present in. All of those things are choices that you can make. From a business viewpoint, I can keep pursuing opportunities and trying to make the best of the situation that we've got. And I have to be honest, last week was a phenomenal week for me on lots of stuff that I've been really kind of chipping away, even pre-COVID, starting to go, right, okay, it's now happening, it's going ahead. And I can see those pieces plotting in. But in the midst of the storm, in the middle of all of your worst problems landing on you, it's very easy to think we're never going to get out of this. It's never going to be an upside, and our brains, again, chimp paradox, are wired to tell us bad news. We are absolutely wired to focus on the negative, and you can never forget that. So it is a Herculean to focus, and you've got to train your brain to focus on the small wins, and that win can just be that I spent 20 minutes reading today. Like, again, you don't doing a master's degree. You just need to be the best that you can be for yourself. So you find those things that do make you feel good, that you've got a good output from, and you do them, and you build up all of your little wins till you can feel good. So right now, today, I'm feeling pretty good.
Today you are winning, you are juicing, and the sum of all those wins are going to let you nail it. So stay away from the biscuits, not even a treat. Well, you've got it right, you're juicing.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to chew.
And I love that. You can't outrun a bad diet. I love that, what you said.
You can't out-train a bad diet. I am proof of concept on that. I exercise every day. It never stops me getting fat if I'm eating the chocolate biscuits.
Well, listen, you keep on juicing, and we will chat next week. And thanks so much, as ever. Fabulous, Sam White, for your time today. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.